The other topic before Styx has to leave that I wanted to cover, since he himself is a big fan of trans punk rockers. So over the weekend, Bernie Sanders, he's decided, hey, I'm gonna be like the anti-Trump guy now. Probably a fundraising grift. He hosts this musician who plays their song. Essentially, again, for me, this is a little different than like the Columbia story. This musician's allowed to sing offensive songs. They're allowed to sing songs that denigrate God. That's fine. I challenge them to sing one about Muhammad, though. I think that would be pretty interesting.
That's impossible mode.
Yeah,
I think that would be very inclusive of them. Very equal opportunity.
Trans punk rock singer sings anti-Muhammad song. I would love to see that. So Bernie Sanders had this. He's basically grifting off Trump, and he had this singer who mocked God and Jesus. A song that specifically attacked Christianity with mentions of Easter and God's Son. Conservative activist Robbie Starbuck posted on X over the weekend. Sanders is in the midst of a fighting oligarchy tour in areas of the country where the 2024 race provided works competitive for Democrats. One, how does this? I'll go to Styx first on this. I don't think that trotting out trans people to denigrate God. 50% of this country or 60% of this country is still Christian, whether or not they're Democrat or Republican.
Yeah.
I mean, I say Trump. I say Bernie Sanders should keep doing more of this. I think this is a great look for the Democrats.
Yeah, it'll be wonderful. But you have to understand a little bit about Vermont, where I'm currently located. Vermonters tend to reelect the incumbent habitually. That's why you've got a Republican governor, but then you've got, Bernie Sanders ass in Congress and so forth. Vermonters and Northern New Englanders in general tend to reelect the incumbent. Number two, I would assure all of you out there, don't worry, Bernie doesn't speak for the majority of people in the state. Again, It's incumbency reelecting more than anything else. I think that it's a terrible look for the Democratic Party on the federal level, but I would point out that Vermont is the most atheistic state. So we've got a lot of people with pink hair here. That's just the way that it is. I happen to enjoy it mostly, but there's a lot of people in Vermont that will actually have no problem with what Bernie Sanders just did.
Yeah, I think this doesn't hurt Bernie Sanders at all, but he's not just putting on these concerts in Vermont, I don't think. I think that, was this in Vermont? He's on tour with it, so I don't know.
No, it was in Kenosha, actually.
In Wisconsin.
But if he wants to be reelected, the only people he needs to ingratiate himself towards are Vermonters, because he's in Congress.
Do we think he's going to seek reelection?
Of course, he's going to die in office.
He's going to be the next Strom Thurmond. He's going to linger on until he's physically incapable of moving.
Yeah.
I think one of the interesting things about this is I doubt Bernie Sanders knew anything about this artist before they took the stage, right? Like, Styx, totally right. Like, atheistic, I believe it. Like, not that Bernie Sanders is upset about anything that happened, but also, like, hello, fellow young people. You think he recruited this guy? You think he was like, I've been listening to this guy on Spotify.
Oh, right.
Cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Bernie Sanders has no idea who this is because he's, 85 years old? He's got, four more.
Sanders would be like, well, I've got all the best modern hits. I've got Roy Orbison's "We Got It" on my iPod. And stuff like that.
Yeah. And like, it doesn't excuse him because this is his headlining title event. Like, he still should have to answer for it. But you both are saying exactly what I would say, which is like, this makes people who don't like Bernie Sanders or the transgender movement or whatever dislike them more. But if you already were cool with them, like, this doesn't do anything. And no one actually thinks Bernie Sanders is like, just, hey, I found this new artist, like, indie scraping music over here.
Well, it's fundraising. That's all he's doing.
Have you ever heard of a CD-ROM?
Yeah, they call it a compact disc. They say
Everyone
it
at
has
his
high
concert
fidelity.
gets a cassette tape to take home with them, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Isn't that cool, guys?"
Yeah,
he would be, that would actually be just as cool as Billy Idol when he released on cassette and ROM, actually, one of his albums back in the 90s.
yeah, that's
Cyberpunk.
actually become a thing now. Like I listen to a lot of indie bands, and like
Yeah.
when you go see them at their shows, you buy it on tape, like just because it's like cool. Like you buy it on vinyl, you buy it on tape, and inside the tape is like a code to get the digital version that they know you actually want, you know. But like it's a fun way for them to charge more and make it kind of a collectible thing.
Yeah.
I just think that like
I just don't think that's what Bernie Sanders doing. Let's be real. He'd be like, "No,
No,
this
he's
is the
not.
best way to listen to music."
No, he's probably still got a Victrola, actually.
Yeah, he's got to crank it up. Listen to this hit. Yeah, the coloreds really like this one. I'm wondering if is Kenosha as lib as Beloit? Yes, it is. And all you have to do is drive through it and you'll know exactly why. It's a dump. Yeah, Kenosha and Beloit. Beloit is worse, but I mean, there's a lot of good people that live in Kenosha, but it's a dump. And it's because, well, who lives there? And it does have the cheese castle, though. It is home to the Mars Cheese Castle, which is in a safe area. I mean, Kenosha's safe. You're not getting stabbed there. You know, it happens every once in a while.
Like, do not make the area around the cheese castle dangerous.
Yeah, it's protected.
You guys will hurt us all.
What is the cheese castle?
It's just a store. It's right over the border, and it's like shaped like a castle, like a literal castle. And they just sell every kind of cheese imaginable and like sausages, and they have good Bloody Marys. It's a tourist. It's a
place.
I was imagining a small castle that was made out of bricks of cheese.
That's also what I had in mind.
They have those for sale in there, small versions. But like it's a tourist trap, but they actually do have like some higher end. Like if you want like a 25-year-old aged cheddar, you might actually just go there because they're gonna have it. Versus like finding a specialty grocery store or buying it online.
Yeah.
Well, we have Camp Quartercast and we all descend on Wisconsin. We have to go. That's the field trip I demand.
Well, what's great about the Cheese Castle, it's right by Great America, which is the best theme park in the world. It's right by Gurney Mills Outlet Malls, which is pretty good too. Like it's like there's a lot of fun stuff to do like down in that area. But yeah, having singers singing about God's big fat, junk and all this kind of stuff. It's kind of, I honestly think it's kind of lame. It's kind of passe. Like being offensive for the sake of being offensive is dumb.
I wish these people would go back and look at archival material from the early 2000s internet. You think that you can offend people in their 30s and 40s?
I grew up watching beheading videos. You know what I mean? Like,
you don't scare me.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way,
I saw Tub Girl and Meat Spin back when you were in diapers. You think you impress me?
Do you remember a couple? This might have been over a year ago now, but Sabrina Carpenter, who's like the current industry pop starlet, she released a music video that was filmed in a Catholic church in Brooklyn, and she's like, dancing sexily at the altar and stuff like that. And people were offended, and it's not like good. And the bishop who allowed them to film there or whoever got in trouble with the rest of the Catholic Church. But then there were also people who were like, "Oh wow, you're like making fun of Christianity."
Ooh.
Whoa,
back in the 1980s.
Right. It's like the safest thing you could do. In fact, other pop stars have done it before. And what? Like, we get it. You hate it. That's not that interesting. It would have been more scandalous if she had been like openly pro-Christian.
What if do any of these people, any of these musicians who think they're being edgy, do they not know that Gigi Allen exists?
Exactly. Do they not Nigerian, by the way? Gigi Allen for life.
Yeah, I mean, do they not think that? Do they not know that Guar exists, or like all these other? There's a million punk bands that were way more edgy than some dork like singing about God having junk or whatever. Like it's so dumb.
Just look at some of like the black metal, the death metal, the
Right.
grindcore scene. There are, dude, you've been eclipsed by 100,000 bands just within music alone before you were even born in some cases.
Yeah, they're not doing anything
Alice
unique.
Cooper. Look at Dead Babies by Alice Cooper.
Or how about
that's not edgy.
Or how about what's his name? You know, biting the head off bats. You know, like
Ozzy Osbourne.
Ozzy, yeah. I mean, like, ooh, you have some spicy lyrics about God. Oh man, I'm really befuddled. I feel totally.
Apparently,
owned.
he did that on accident, though. He thought it was
He thought it was fake.
Yeah,
right.
That's the best
he was
part.
so high and drunk.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, either way, you know.
I mean, R.I.P. Bats' rights, you know, but also the fact that it was like he was holding this thing in his hand. And he's like, I think it's not real. I'm sure you could feel it moving, team.
Yeah, he ate it. He knew what it was. I mean, he
was so blasted he probably didn't.
I was gonna say, yeah, he was probably high on heroin.
Sabrina Carpenter would never, you know,
she wouldn't
by accident or on purpose.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny when people from the Zoomer generation try to be edgy?
Yeah, it is kind of cute. It's cute.
Especially when they're like kind of corporate, you know, like when you're being supported by Hollywood so intensely and they're like, now be edgy. You know what? We've come up with this this approved by headquarters way.
God is bad.
Scandalous. Like, oh wow, great idea. And that was, I mean, like I didn't grow up. I mean, like I like punk music, but I didn't grow up really listening to it all that much or anything like that. But from everything I know about it, like this was actual creativity and individualism. And now all of these protests are like, how can I say something that the people that we collectively agree are bad are going to be mad about? Like, it just seems like you're saying, you know, it's a grift, it's really. And this happens on the right too. People will say something just to get the attention or whatever.
Musicians, Kid Rock, Kid Rock.
Yeah, it's called corporatized edginess. If that makes
the
sense.
guy hasn't had a good record in 25 years, but he just says Trump guy. I'm a Trump guy now, and suddenly he's selling millions of records.
It's like you get a bunch of money in order to be edgy, and you do the thing, whereas people were being edgy for free for a long, long time, just on YouTube, even back in like 2004 or something.
It was a game amongst my friends.
Yeah,
to find the grossest videos, and like for a whole summer, it was a meme of showing people Two Girls, One Cup. Like that, like recording people's reactions to Two Girls, One Cup was an entire meta on YouTube. It was so part of regular culture that Family Guy made fun of it. Like, and it's also one of Family Guy's funniest bits ever.